Reclaiming peace. How one woman stood her ground against entitled neighbors. Tasha Williams had worked tirelessly for everything she had. At 42, she was proud of her home, a beautiful two-story house in Chandler, Arizona, with a backyard that was her personal sanctuary. Palm trees lined the fence, and at the center of it all was her pride and joy. A crystal clear, meticulously maintained pool. She wasn't one to boast, but she had every reason to be proud. She had bought the house on her own, with no handouts or shortcuts, just years of hard work, saving, and smart decisions. Her neighborhood was a mix of families, both old and new homeowners. Some were friendly, others kept to themselves. Tasha didn't mind either way. She wasn't looking to be the community favorite. She just wanted to live in peace. But that peace didn't last long. The first time it happened, she brushed it off. One Saturday afternoon, she returned home from running errands and noticed wet footprints leading from her backyard gate to the sidewalk. At first, she thought it might have been the landscaper or a utility worker, but then she saw it. A dripping wet towel carelessly tossed over her fence. She checked the pool. The water level was lower, her pool float had been moved, and a half-empty soda can sat on her lounge chair. Someone had been in her backyard. Tasha took a deep breath, trying to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe a kid had jumped the fence and panicked when they got caught. But when she asked her neighbors, she was met with casual shrugs. "Oh, it's probably just one of the kids," one woman said with a laugh. "You know how they are." Another neighbor, a man in his 50s, barely looked up from his car as he muttered, "They're just having fun. You've got a nice pool, Miss Williams. People notice." The way he said it bothered her, but she didn't push. She tightened the lock on her gate and hoped it wouldn't happen again, but it did. A week later, Tasha was sitting in her living room when she heard splashing. At first, she thought she'd left the pool filter running, but then she heard laughter. She walked to the back door and peeked outside. There, in her pool, was a teenage boy casually swimming as if he owned the place. A girl, likely his sister, sat at the edge, dipping her feet in. Tasha flung the door open. "Excuse me," she snapped. The kids froze, wide-eyed. The boy scrambled out of the water like a caught fish. I thought you wouldn't mind," he stammered. "We didn't think to ask," Tasha shot back. "Who even are you?" The girl mumbled something about living 2 houses down before they bolted out the gate. Tasha stood there, heart pounding, a dripping towel in her hand. She wanted to let it go, but the excuses that followed pushed her over the edge. The next day she confronted the kids' parents, expecting an apology. Instead, she got an argument. "Oh, come on," the mother scoffed. "They're just kids. It's hot. What's the big deal?" Tasha stared at her, stunned. "The big deal," she said slowly, "is that this is my property, my home, my pool. I don't remember giving out invitations." The father, arms crossed, muttered, "You're being dramatic." Dramatic. That word burned. Tasha bit back her anger and installed security cameras, hoping it would send a message. For a while it worked. But then, on a scorching Saturday afternoon, she came home to find her backyard packed with people. Not just kids, but grown adults. Lounge chairs were taken, beer bottles littered the ground, and someone had even set up a folding table with snacks. Her pool was full, with women wading waist-deep and a man leaning against the ledge, sipping a drink. Tasha's blood boiled. She stormed outside, her voice sharp and steady. "Every single one of you, get out, now!" Some people froze, others exchanged looks, as if she were overreacting. Sandra, a neighbor from 3 houses down, waved dismissively. "Oh, don't be like that. It's just a pool. You weren't even home." Tasha stepped forward, her anger bubbling. "It's not just a pool. It's my pool, my house, my yard. You don't live here. You don't pay for this. So get out, all of you." When they didn't move fast enough, Tasha shut off the pool filter and yanked the power cord to the speakers. "I'm calling the police," she announced. That got them moving. Within minutes, her yard was empty. Sandra, however, had the audacity to roll her eyes on her way out. "You don't have to be so uptight," she muttered. "Nobody was hurting anything." Tasha slammed the gate behind them, locked it, and stood there, fuming. She knew one thing for sure. This wasn't over. Tasha had tried everything: talking, reasoning, cameras, locks. None of it worked. So she decided to get creative. She installed heavy-duty locks on her gate and pool equipment box. Then she ordered a special chemical treatment for her pool: harmless pool dye that turns the water bright green if someone pees in it. She also posted a custom sign on her fence: "Warning: Pool chemically treated for unauthorized use. Exposure may cause rash, severe itching, or temporary skin discoloration." The sign wasn't entirely truthful, but it worked. Neighbors started whispering, and Sandra even posted about it in the neighborhood group. FYI, Tasha put some weird chemical in her pool, says it causes rashes. Not sure how safe that is. The comments rolled in, but Tasha just laughed. They were mad because their free ride was over. When Sandra confronted her, Tasha stood her ground. "I told people to stay out. They didn't listen, so I took precautions," she said calmly. Sandra huffed. "You're ridiculous. You don't even have kids. It's just sitting there, going to waste." Tasha tilted her head. "So, because I don't have kids, that means my pool is up for public use?" Sandra rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on. Don't act like—" Tasha cut her off. "No. You come on, Sandra. You and the rest of these people have some nerve. You don't pay for my water bill. You don't clean my pool. But you expect to just help yourselves?" Sandra stormed off, and Tasha finally felt at peace. She added one final touch: a motion-activated sprinkler system along the fence. But she never had to use it. The freeloading days were over. Tasha's story is a reminder that respect is earned, not given. She tried to be nice, but when people ignored her boundaries, she took a stand. Was she petty? Maybe. But was she wrong? Not even a little. What about you? Have you ever had to stand your ground when people tried to take advantage of you? How would you have handled this situation? Let's talk about it. And remember, if you don't set boundaries, someone will walk all over you. Respect yourself enough to say, enough is enough.